To all the women and men who have made these projects possible, thank you for your perseverance. And to all colleagues who call Nairobi home, thank you for your dedication and commitment. May these new spaces inspire bold ideas, ensuring partnerships and lasting impact. Asante sana, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, for your remarks. I now invite His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, to deliver his remarks. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, I know you once told me that I should not refer you to it with titles. Deputy UN Secretary General Amina Mohammed, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome you, and especially my good friend, Secretary General and his deputy, and I am told they rarely travel out together except on very consequential functions like this one. Your presence underscores our shared commitment to strengthening multilateralism and ensuring the UN remains effective, responsive, and fit for purpose in addressing the challenges of our time. 51 years ago, this site was little more than a coffee plantation on the outskirts of the capital city of Nairobi. Today, through visionary leadership and Kenya's commitment to multilateralism and international cooperation, it has evolved into the largest UN headquarters by acreage anywhere in the world. Yes, I said anywhere in the world. As the only UN headquarters in the global south, Nairobi stands as a powerful symbol that the United Nations truly belongs to all the peoples of the world and reflects the shared aspirations of humanity. We are proud and privileged to host more than 70 UN agencies, funds, and programs, alongside a vibrant community of 6,000 plus staff who serve from Nairobi today. As this presence continues to grow, Kenya remains firmly committed to ensuring that the United Nations office at Nairobi is fully equipped to deliver effective, responsive, and impactful service to the people and the communities who need it most. Today's groundbreaking ceremony marks a historic milestone for Kenya, for the United Nations, and indeed for the entire global south, as well as for the future of multilateral cooperation across the world. The launch of the United Nations Conference Facilities Project reaffirms Kenya's steadfast commitment to international diplomacy, sustainable development, and the shared values that continue to unite member states in pursuit of a more peaceful, inclusive, and prosperous world. The approval by the UN General Assembly of the Conference Facilities Project demonstrates the collective resolve of member states to strengthen the UN office in Nairobi. This transformative project will modernize critical infrastructure, address the long-standing deterioration of existing facilities, optimize space utilization, and ensure full compliance with international health, safety, and accessibility standards. This will enhance Nairobi's capacity and be consistent with its status alongside other UN headquarters to effectively serve as a premier global hub for multilateral diplomacy and international cooperation. Kenya provides favorable enabling conditions, a supportive legal environment, and is among the most cost-effective jurisdictions across all UN headquarters globally. The government of Kenya shall continue working closely with the United Nations and with you, Mr. Secretary General, to strengthen and transform Nairobi as a premier diplomatic, multilateral, and humanitarian hub, as well as a global center for dialogue on peace and security, environmental diplomacy, and international development cooperation. This is particularly important at a time when multilateralism is under considerable strain from geopolitical fragmentation, growing mistrust, fiscal pressures, and widening global inequalities. In this context, the United Nations office at Nairobi stands as a powerful expression of inclusivity, geographical balance, and the universality of the UN system. These challenges to multilateralism place renewed emphasis on the need to deliver mandates efficiently while preserving the core values of the organization and upholding a balanced and integrated approach to the three pillars of the United Nations Charter: development, human rights, and peace and security. All three pillars are interlinked and require predictable, adequate, responsive financing and effective institutional support. I acknowledge that the replacement of the original 10 office blocks is set to deliver modern, safe, accessible, and environmentally sustainable facilities. The already completed phases are an impressive combination of improved accessibility for persons with disability, efficient space utilization, environmental preservation, and generation of clean energy, taking full advantage of our sobriquet as the green city under the sun. Mr. Secretary General, as a host country, Kenya remains committed and assures you of support for the United Nations through a whole-of-government approach, including what we are investing, close to $1.1 billion of domestic resources in expanding infrastructure, utilities, ICT systems, security arrangements, and the operationalization of the UN one-stop shop. As I mentioned to you earlier, Mr. Secretary General, we are investing our own resources. Just 2 months ago, I did unveil a plan to enhance the motorability and mobility around Nairobi. We are going to spend close to $700 million to extend the road network around Nairobi. About 267 kilometers of new tarmac is going to be expanded in the city of Nairobi. We are going to invest also in the cleanup of the city of Nairobi, of lighting in the city of Nairobi, adding additional water resources into the city of Nairobi. And for the first time, beginning July this year, we will have a metropolitan police in Nairobi to ensure that there is adequate security in the city of Nairobi. I will also want to let you know that working with partners, and I want to thank UNEP for their partnership, we are also investing in the Nairobi River regeneration, and we are spending close to $400 million to clean up the city of Nairobi, to make it motorable, and to eliminate sewage that has been a big menace in that river, and modernizing the whole corridor of almost 50 kilometers. Mr. Secretary General, we are not doing this for the UN. We are doing this for the city of Nairobi and its residents. And among its residents is the UN staff here. And I want to thank the invaluable support of the UN fraternity in making sure that this city becomes livable and this city works for all its residents. Today's groundbreaking reaffirms our collective faith in multilateralism and in the enduring mission of the United Nations. Kenya stands steadfast with the international community in advancing peace, sustainable development, human dignity, and shared prosperity for all nations and all peoples. Mr. Secretary General, again, it's my pleasure on behalf of the government and people of Kenya, and on my own behalf, to welcome you again to Nairobi and to thank you for your friendship and your leadership, without which we wouldn't be doing this groundbreaking ceremony. We want to thank you in a very special way for your leadership, for all the things that you have done to make sure that this facility here that is going to make Nairobi a hub of conferencing. I also want to tell you, Mr. Secretary General, in support and to complement what the UN family is doing here, expanding conference facility, the government of Kenya is also building a conference facility to complement what you are building here in Bomas of Kenya, which will be ready in the coming months, maybe by September this year. So as you do what you're doing at the UN headquarters here in Nairobi, we will be complementing your efforts, as I said, in deploying our own resources to make sure that the residents of this city and the UN family living with us in this city will have a good experience living and working out of Nairobi. We are in the process of working on our Privileges and Immunities Act to also provide opportunity for families and staff who work out of Nairobi. If they consider retiring in Nairobi, we're trying to extend facilities, and the law will provide incentives for you to retire in this great city of Nairobi. And that will be extended to you, Mr. Secretary General, just in case. Just in case you consider retiring in this city of Nairobi, because we have a great relationship with the UN family, UN staff who work out of here. They have become part and parcel of the Kenyan family, and we want to make sure that they can enjoy the city of Nairobi and enjoy Kenya beyond their working experience here. We look forward to deepening our partnership with the United Nations at Nairobi as Nairobi continues to grow as a center of global diplomacy and a symbol of international cooperation for generations ahead. Thank you very much, and enjoy your stay in Nairobi. Asante sana.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President Ruto, for your remarks. Excellencies and distinguished guests, we now come to the highlight of today's ceremony, the groundbreaking for the UNON New Assembly Hall and Conference Facilities project. I kindly invite the following 10 to come forward for the ceremonial turning of the soil. Ms. Anna Claudia Rosbach, UN Undersecretary General and Executive Director for the UN Human Settlements Program, UN Habitat. Ms. Inga Anderson, UN Undersecretary General and Executive Director, UN Environment Program, UNEP. Mrs. Zainab Hao Bangura, UN Undersecretary General and Director General of UNON. His Excellency, Mr. William MacDonald, Permanent Representative of Barbados to the United Nations in Kenya and Chair of the Advisory Board of the Conference Facilities Project. Her Excellency, Dr. Aida Odinga, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Kenya to UNON and UNEP. Dr. Chris Kipto, Principal Secretary, the National Treasury. His Excellency, Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Government of Kenya. Ms. Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. I would now like to invite Mr. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, and His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, to come forward. I also invite members of the media, yes, to come forward, thank you, to the designated media area for the official photo opportunity. These shovels have been specially made with wood harvested from a tree in the compound, so it's been recycled. And I would now invite you all to use the shovels to turn the top of the soil for this historic occasion. Another round of applause. I will now invite His Excellency the President and the Secretary of the United Nations to share a few words with the media right there, after which they and their delegations and the media will depart to the second part of our program. I request that the rest of our distinguished guests remain seated, and I'll provide more information on the next segment of the program. Thank you. Over there. Secretary General, if you'd like to share some reflections on this occasion. We're going to get a mic. Where the mic?
Check.
Just do it from the podium then. No.
So, I have made my comments already on this very consequential ceremony. An investment of close to $340 million to expand the infrastructure and facilities, especially the conference facilities in this campus, and for which we are truly grateful to the Secretary General's leadership and the UN member states for providing the resources for this facility to be built. And as I have said, there will be complementary investments by the government of Kenya to support the investments being made by member states and the UN family here in Nairobi. We will be improving mobility around the city of Nairobi by building an extra 267 kilometers. It's a program I launched 2 months ago. We will also be enhancing water availability. We are investing in some of our water resources to make sure that we have additional resources and additional water in this campus and in the city of Nairobi. We will be investing in making Nairobi much more beautiful and cleaner. And we will be lighting the city of Nairobi. We are going to roll out initially 40,000 lights around the city of Nairobi, and then followed by another 50,000 to make it 90,000 before the end of this year. Again, to improve livability in the city of Nairobi for all the residents of the city of Nairobi, including the UN family that live with us here. This is a very important occasion for us. We are truly grateful to the Secretary General and the UN family and the member states for making this project a success. And we look forward to partnering with the UN going into the future, and for all the things that we do together, thanking the Secretary General for his advocacy, for his voice on matters that affect the Global South, from the international financial architecture. And I have had occasion to share this with the Secretary General, that the Global South is depending on him to use his voice to advocate not just for the reform of the international financial architecture, but to also support the new Africa financial architecture that we have designed, and also what we have done in Kenya with our new National Infrastructure Fund, so that we can have a multiplicity of interventions to make sure that we deal with the challenge of debt, we deal with the challenge of access to concessional resources at scale. And we have made proposals which we hope to carry with the Secretary General all the way to every fora, including the G7 that is going to be held in a month's time, and all the other multilateral fora that we will find as a way of finding solutions. It's been for a very long time that this continent, the Global South, is about problems, conflict, disease, poverty. We're changing that altogether. Even as we carry out the French Africa Summit in Nairobi, it is contextualized differently, that this continent is not about it's not about aid, it's not about loans. This continent is about ideas, solutions, and investments. And that is the conversation we are having in Nairobi, different from other conversations that have been had before. And therefore, I am looking forward to working with the Secretary General and the UN family here in Nairobi as we fashion solutions for the challenges that face our nations and our continent, and providing global solutions to global challenges. We're very proud on behalf of the government and people of Kenya of this investment, and we look forward to working together. Mr. Secretary General.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, this complex would not be possible without the enormous generosity and hospitality of the government and people of Kenya. The government of Kenya has been absolutely essential to create the conditions to allow for the biggest campus in the UN globally to offer to the United Nations exceptional conditions to work and to serve the people we care for in Africa and around the world. Dear President William Ruto, thank you very much for what has been a continued support and a strong investment in allowing the UN to be able to be present here. Dynamism, with enthusiasm, and with the will to contribute to the Africa that you have just described. And indeed, we want to be part of this transformational Africa strategy that is overcoming once for all what was the legacy of colonialism. I usually say that Africa was a double victim of colonialism. First of all, because what colonialism represented in itself and the suffering that it brought. But second, because of the legacy of for a continent in which the infrastructure that had been built was not to connect the Africans among themselves, was not to develop the African economy, but it was to allow for the extraction of African resources to the benefit of developed countries. And I see today in Africa, in its use, in its dynamism, its initiative, a will that once and for all end that legacy and create an African continent with a role among equals in the international community. And I have to say that I'm also enthusiastic about the commitment that I see in African governments, not only to advocate for justice in international relations, but to mobilize their own national resources for the benefit of the development of their countries. Having said so, my voice will remain loud and clear in saying that we live in a situation that is deeply unfair. It is not acceptable that African countries pay more than 3 times more than developed countries in order to obtain the loans they need for the development. Many of these countries with a more solid financial situation and better development perspectives than developed countries that obtain resources with much lower cost. This is absolutely unacceptable. On the other hand, the truth is that because in 1945 Africans were not at the table, the institutions, the Security Council of the United Nations, the Bretton Woods system, the essential institutions of governance in the world were done without an African presence. And Africa paid a huge price for that. And that is the reason why we are claiming that there will be no justice before there will be permanent African members in the Security Council, and there will be no justice before Africa has its right share in the quotas of the IMF or in the capital of the World Bank or in the many other institutions, for the African interests to be much more seriously taken into account by the international financial architecture. And the African continent can count on me. I will always be at your side to correct injustices and to make sure that the world recognizes that there is a price that the world must pay in order to overcome all the injustices that Africa has suffered, and to support what is now this transformational enthusiasm that I see in the African continent, and of which Kenya and the President of Kenya are 2 very clear examples. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency and Mr. Secretary General. Excellencies, distinguished guests, we have come to the end of this part of our program. The next segment will be the inauguration of the new offices by His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, and Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General.
Yes. Where is the big man? Do you remember you brought me all the way here?
Yes.
The last time when I was alone, I didn't get this kind of treatment. I was not given all the
Ladies and gentlemen,
I was dropped somewhere and I had to go.
His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, and Mr. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General.
Zunguka pande hili, zunguka hivi, zunguka. Zunguka ndio. Hiki iko pande gani? Iko pande hii. Usiwe huko. Sawa.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, and Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, distinguished guests, we are now ready to begin this segment of the program. We thank the Secretary General and the Government of Kenya, led by His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for this significant milestone and for both your contributions to this United Nations Gigiri complex. I now invite you both to unveil the plaque to inaugurate these new buildings at the UN office at Nairobi. Thank you very much. We will now have a set of photographs alongside the two principals, and we will begin with the Government of Kenya. And I would like to invite His Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Chris Kipto, Principal Secretary, the National Treasury, Deputy Director Janbe Kiyungu, Her Excellency Dr. Ida Odinga, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Kenya to UNON and UNEP, Her Excellency Ms. Susan Nakumicha Wafula, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Kenya to UN Habitat, and His Excellency Mr. Ekitela Lokale, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Kenya to the United Nations in New York. So that will be the first photograph.
Come this side.